Did you know there's a country right now with two separate governments at the same time, each ruling their part of the country? Actually, there's more than two, but two main ones. This is Libya. Libya today is in practice a country that exists in multiple pieces at once. On paper, it's a single sovereign state, but in reality, it's split between rival governments, competing armies, and large areas where neither side really governs at all. In the west, based in Tripoli, there is the internationally recognized Government of National Unity that controls the capital, key ministries, and much of the northwest coastline. In the east, centered on Benghazi and Tobruk, there is a parallel political system built around the Libyan House of Representatives and backed militarily by the Libyan National Army. They call themselves the Government of National Stability. Confusing and similar names, so the west is unity and the east is stability. The country is neither stable nor united. And then there's the south, huge, empty on maps, but very strategically crucial. There, the authority of both northern governments is basically non-existent. Local Tuareg, Tebu, and some other Arab tribal networks manage the territory, border crossings, even some valuable oil installations and smuggling routes. There's a mix of informal agreements, then they have their own armed forces, and they shift alliances between themselves and both governments. Sometimes they cooperate with Tripoli, sometimes with Tobruk, sometimes with nobody at all. So at the same time that Libya has two governments, it also has areas where there's no government at all. Now, this isn't a sudden breakdown. Libya didn't fall apart overnight. The country's current fragmentation is the result of a long-term historical division that was never truly resolved, only temporarily suppressed. So to understand why Libya is like this, we need to go back before the civil war, even before Gaddafi, before oil, before the concept of Libya even existed. For most of history, Libya wasn't just one place. There were several places sharing a name. The land that now makes up Libya was actually always traditionally divided, not into two, but into three main regions. Tripolitania in the west, Cyrenaica in the east, and Fezzan in the south. Each had different peoples, different economies, and different links to the outside world. So I think the immediate thought is the old division is just visible once more, and maybe it's the unity that was kind of fictitious. Let's learn a bit more about the region to understand. Before classical empires arrived, the regions were inhabited by Amazigh and other indigenous groups whose political organization was local and tribal. Power wasn't centralized. It wasn't even organized like it was in Europe with feudalism. Authority just came from kinship, control of land, and control of trade routes. And this mattered because later European and Arab empires would rule the coastline but never fully penetrate the interior. And when external civilizations arrived, they didn't immediately attempt to unify Libya. In fact, they reinforced that division. Phoenician traders settled in the western coast. They founded cities that became tied to Carthage and the western Mediterranean. Meanwhile, Greek colonists settled Cyrenaica, founding cities like Cyrene that were culturally Greek and economically linked to the eastern Mediterranean and Egypt. From the beginning, West and East Libya were facing different directions because they were colonized by different ancient peoples. And then came the Romans. Under their empire, both regions were incorporated into imperial rule, but they were governed separately. It's like they already recognized that they existed with two different identities. Also, while roads, cities, and ports were developed along the coast, the interior remained only very lightly administered, even partly unclaimed by Rome, as it was viewed as useless. The empire never attempted to erase regional identities either, and once imperial authority weakened, those divisions were still there because, well, they never really went away. A few centuries later, a new outside people arrived, the Arabs. Their conquests in the 7th century brought Islam and Arabic language, which gave Libya a more unified cultural framework than it ever had before. But honestly, I think you could compare both sides of Libya to all the other countries along the north of Africa. I think they were as similar to each other as they were to Egypt or to Tunisia. The only thing that united them was the same ruler, the same religion, and the same language. Every other difference was still there. And so, real political unity on the ground remained elusive. Libya was ruled by a succession of caliphates, dynasties, and local rulers, often from distant capitals like Damascus, Cairo, or Tunis. Power was uneven and the desert interior still remained difficult to control, again because there wasn't much use to it then, so it was viewed mostly as just desert. Under Ottoman rule, Libya again existed as a set of provinces rather than a single integrated unit. Tripolitania and Cyrenaica were once more governed separately, and Fezzan functioned as a frontier zone more tied to Saharan trade rather than Mediterranean politics, existing in a completely different reality than the north of the country. Ottoman authority relied heavily on local elites and tribes, and this also reinforced regional autonomy rather than slowly eliminating it. So what it seems like is that up until the 19th century or so, the concept of a united Libya didn't even exist. They were just a set of two very different regions side by side, Tripolitania and Cyrenaica. So when did Libya become a thing? The first attempt to turn these regions into a single country came not from within, but from the outside. In fact, from the colonization by a European power. It all started during the Italian invasion in the early 20th century. What Italy did was not just conquer the territory, it kind of forcibly joined these regions together into a colonial project, laying the foundations of modern Libya almost by accident. The Italian invasion began in 1911, at a time when European powers were racing to grab what they could from a weakening Ottoman Empire. Italy was a relatively new nation-state, united only in the 1860s, and it was kind of desperate to prove itself as a real great power. And North Africa was running out of real estate. France had taken Algeria and Tunisia, Britain controlled Egypt, and Italy was feeling kind of boxed out. They saw Ottoman Libya as the easiest remaining prize. It was close, poorly defended, and kind of strategically located. It sat directly opposite from southern Italy, controlled important Mediterranean ports, and offered prestige even if its economic value was uncertain. Italian politicians sold the invasion to the public as a civilizing mission, claiming Libya was rich land being wasted under Ottoman misrule. Italian naval forces bombarded coastal cities like Tripoli and Benghazi, landing troops and seizing the ports kind of easily. On paper, the invasion looked successful almost immediately, but beyond the coast, Italian control was very shallow. Local resistance to a centralized and especially foreign rule also took place. In Cyrenaica especially, it was very fierce. After World War I, Italy doubled down on the colonial ambitions to unite the territory under fascist rule. Libya was no longer just a prestige project, it was meant to become a settler colony, an extension of Italy itself. And this is when unification truly began. It was pretty brutal. Italy abandoned the idea of indirect rule and moved towards total control of all three regions. Tripolitania, Cyrenaica, and Fezzan were no longer treated as loosely connected provinces, but instead as a part of a single territorial unit under centralized colonial authority for Libya. The name itself draws from ancient geographic terminology. It was chosen to give the colony some type of historical legitimacy and to suggest continuity where none had really existed. What had once been three regions with separate histories was now administratively fused into one colony governed from Tripoli and Rome. Roads, ports, and cities were built to connect the territory, but they were designed to serve Italian settlers and military movement rather than local integration. So by the time Italy lost Libya after World War II, the damage was already done. Libya now achieved independence and existed as a single territorial unit, but that unity had been imposed by colonial conquest, not built through internal consensus. Essentially, the colonial state created a country before creating a nation, and that contradiction would follow Libya into independence, dictatorship, civil war, and de facto separation up to today. So what happened next? In 1969, Muammar Gaddafi seized power in a coup, overthrowing the monarchy. Over the next 4 decades, he built a highly personalized system of rule that dismantled local institutions while centralizing power in his own hands. Gaddafi unified the country only by preventing alternatives from existing. Regional elites were sidelined, tribes were manipulated, and any independent power base was crushed or absorbed. The discovery of oil and the money gotten from it helped smooth things over for a while, but it never eliminated the tensions on the ground. And so when Gaddafi fell in 2011, the system just collapsed instantly. There wasn't a strong unified army, no trusted bureaucracy, and no shared political culture to hold the country together. Armed groups that had fought the regime kept their weapons, and cities began acting independently. What followed was essentially a civil war, but it was also more than that. It was a crisis of legitimacy and existence of the country itself, because multiple governments claimed to represent all of Libya, each backed by different armed groups and foreign supporters. Elections were held, but losing sides never accepted the results. Compromise governments were formed, but they lacked real authority and never lasted. And so by the mid-2010s, the split had kind of hardened into these two sides. In the West, Tripoli-based authorities emphasized their international recognition and access to the state finances. Their power rested on alliances with local militias rather than a unified national army. While in the East, Khalifa Haftar built a centralized military structure, presenting himself as the only figure capable of restoring order because of this military control. His forces took over Cyrenaica, much of the oil infrastructure, and later expanded south too. Now, these aren't just rival factions, they're rival state systems. Each side has its own institutions, media, foreign relations. Attempts to merge them through unity governments created temporary truces, but again, never resolved the core issue, which is neither side is willing or able to give up power. Meanwhile, the south kind of remains a wild card, just like it did throughout Phoenician, Greek, Roman, Ottoman, and even Italian rule. Fezzan's strategic location, bordering multiple countries, makes it vital for smuggling, trade, migration, and even oil production, but it's kind of neglected by every central government. Local groups have filled the vacuum, creating their own systems of control and allying one side or the other, or neither, depending on what is useful to them at the time. And so today, Libya kind of resembles a country that is frozen in a period of transition that just never ends. It functions as two governments, multiple armies, several autonomous zones, all layered on top of historical regions that were never fully unified to begin with. Which, again, I think brings about the question, should they just assume that they shouldn't be united as a country and declare independence as 2 or 3 new independent nations, one of Tripolitania, one of Cyrenaica, and one of Fezzan in the south. Whether Libya eventually reunifies, formalizes the divisions, or continues indefinitely in this limbo remains unclear. What is clear is that their crisis isn't just about politics or personalities or control. It's about a state that was assembled before it was ever truly integrated, and that is now struggling to decide whether it can or even wants to be a single country again.